Hey everyone, I'm Vinu, a French shmup enthusiast, and this is the first video on my channel in English. I'm trying something new to share my passion with more players, so if you enjoy this kind of content, let me know. Thanks for watching and enjoy the video. Today we're diving into the traditional top 5 shmups that have been released or re-released in 2024. This year has been a bit of a special because for 2024, the first time in over 6 years, M2 hasn't released a single shoot-'em-up, choosing instead to focus on the GBA Castlevania collection and Night Striker gear. That had a big impact on this ranking because last year half of the games in my top 5 were M2 ports. Hopefully they will be back next year with Toplin Garage Volume 3, a Cave or Raising port, or even the long-awaited New Aleste branch. Because of this year's list feels a bit fresher, even though the first few months were quite slow. Later on though, we got some truly excellent and super original indie games. Just a quick reminder, this top 5 is completely subjective. For example, I didn't include Crystal Breaker, which was released in late November. Even though it's a solid game, I'm not a big fan of caravan shooters on PC Engine, so it won't be appearing here. There are also some very recent releases like the ports of Dodonpachi Saidaio Jo and Under Defeat HD, which I haven't had time to play yet. As for Changeable Guardian Astique, the latest shmup released on NES and Famicom, I'm currently grinding it, so it won't be on the list. I probably missed some releases, and I obviously can't play everything, so feel free to share your own top 5, or the shmups you enjoyed playing this year. I'm really curious to see your picks. For me, 2024 has been an incredible year, with over 20 1cc's, each one bringing a ton of enjoyment. Alright, let's jump right into it. We're kicking off this top 5 with IREM Collection Volume 1 and 2 at 5th place. Released on Switch and PlayStation consoles, the first volume includes Image Fight 1 and 2 and X Multiply, while the second contains Gun Force 1 and 2 and Air Duel. There will eventually be 5 volumes, and we're hoping for a special R-Type collection featuring R-Type Leo. I obviously can't go into detail on every game in these collections, but I might make a separate video on some of them. I've seen mixed opinions on these IREM compilations, but personally I think they're great. And here's why. Most of these titles were never released on consoles, so it's awesome to finally have them, with physical editions available worldwide. I have the Japanese version, and it includes English language support. I was especially curious to try X Multiply and Air Duel. Being IREM games, they're obviously brutally difficult, but the quality is there, even if some games haven't aged as well. I'm no pro at these titles, but the emulation feels solid, with no noticeable input lag. If you've played them extensively, let me know if you agree. Each volume includes 3 main games, but in reality, there's way more because they've also included console ports. For example, Image Fight 1 comes with its NES, Famicom, PC Engine, World Arcade, and Japanese arcade versions, 5 in total. That's super exhaustive and great for comparison, since there are even gameplay differences between the World and Japanese arcade versions. They've also packed in a bunch of extra features like various scanline options, custom button mapping with different auto-fire rates, cheats, rewind, and save states, an online leaderboard with an arcade challenge mode. Seriously, what more could you ask for? All this for under $30 in physical edition? You could easily sink dozens of hours into each collection. Sure, they're not as feature-packed as M2 ports, which include new music, arranged modes, and gadgets, but they're also much cheaper. Plus, my Japanese version even comes with a thick, beautifully illustrated manual explaining the different games. If you love IREM games, don't hesitate, just go for it. No surprise here, Angel at Dusk lands at the 4th spot on this list. This shmup is anything but conventional. First because of its grotesque and highly unique art direction, reminiscent of H.R. Giger with a touch of Kentaro Miura, the legendary Berserk mangaka. But its gameplay is just as unusual, relying more on precise cancel timings rather than pure dodging. Playing this game almost feels like a philosophical experience, with its rich lore and apocalyptic atmosphere further amplified by a haunting soundtrack that blends pan flute, piano, and electric guitar. It also features the best tutorial I've ever seen in a shmup. And with 2 complementary game modes, a wide variety of angels, weapons, and bombs to experiment with, the €15 price tag is more than justified. The gameplay is well crafted and accessible to all kinds of players, though personally, I tend to prefer more arcade-style titles over the grind and stat-based progression here. But still, I had an amazing time with this unique, genre-defying experience that will definitely leave an impression on you. If you're interested, I'll be posting a full review of the game in English soon, so stay tuned. The surprise entry in this ranking, Castle of Shikigami 2 or Shikigami no Shiro 2 in Japanese, developed by Alpha System. Yes, I know, it was already released on Steam years ago, but this Switch version brings a much-needed breath of fresh air, plus it's available in physical format in Europe thanks to Red Art Games. This is the most popular entry in the Shikigami trilogy, though it's mostly known to the wider public because of its infamously terrible English translation and hilariously bad voice acting. Unfortunately, or fortunately, this version has a new translation, and the English dub has been removed, stripping away some of the game's B-movie charm. Visually, well, let's be honest, the 3D hasn't aged gracefully, but trust me, you'll get used to it quickly. I urge you to give it a try. I guarantee you'll be instantly hooked by its unique and addictive gameplay. There are 7 characters, each with wildly different attack patterns and bomb types, and on top of that, each one has 2 Shikigami to choose from, which act as a secondary weapon. Some characters are built for survival, while others focus on high-score strategies. The variety is insane, and you'll have a blast experimenting with them all. The 5 stages are split into 2 sections, each featuring a humanoid boss and a mechanical one, with plenty of creativity in the level design. Maybe even a little too much. For example, that puzzle in Stage 3-1 is not a fan favorite. One of my favorite aspects of the game is its unique grazing mechanic. When you skim past bullets, not only does your score multiplier increase, up to 8, but your shot instantly becomes more powerful. This constantly encourages you to play right on the edge, and it's incredibly satisfying. One of the best implementations of risk versus reward gameplay I've ever seen. This version also comes with an arrange mode, online leaderboards, tate mode, difficulty settings, and a solid training mode. In short, it's a complete package. As you can probably tell, this game has a ton of charm, and I highly recommend checking it out. Devil Blade Reboot was the most anticipated shmup of the year, and the impact it made fully lived up to expectations. This indie shmup was developed by a single-person Shigetake, who originally worked as a graphic designer for Vanillaware, known for their stunning 2D visuals. He contributed to nearly all of their titles since the PS2 era, from Grim Grimoire and Odin Sphere to Muramasa on the Wii, Dragon's Crown on PS3 and PS4, and even Unicorn Overlord. But Devil Blade actually dates back to 1996, when it was first released on PS1 via the shmup creation software Dizamon Plus. In early 2018, Shigetake decided to bring his beloved project back to life, using Shooting Game Builder, working on it solely in his free time. This is a shmup for everyone. It never feels frustrating or overwhelming for newcomers, but it still provides a strong sense of progression and accomplishment once you reach a 1cc. From there, you can either take on its well-crafted, high-difficulty challenges or dive into the scoring system, which is easy to grasp but deeply rewarding. The game's level design is top-tier, featuring bold and striking visuals that remain highly readable, punctuated by spectacular transitions and fun nods to classics like Radiant Silvergun and Rayforce. Add to that an excellent soundtrack, and you get a shmup that truly stands out. Special mention to the retro mode, which offers a distinct old-school experience that shouldn't be overlooked. It's just as polished as the main game. This is an insanely good solo project made in someone's spare time. And for just €15 on Steam, it's a steal. Let's hope for a console release so more people can enjoy this gem. It's an absolute must-have for any shmup fan. And here we are, the long-awaited #1 spot. It's not Devil Blade Reboot, and no, it's not Signy. The best shmup of the year is none other than Blue Revolver Double Action. released in November on Steam. Now, some might say, but isn't this just an update to the 2016 game? Well, sure, it's a free update, but calling it just an update would be a huge understatement. Just take a look at the patch notes. They're hundreds of lines long. The amount of work done here is insane, on par with No Man's Sky-style revamps. They could have easily called it Blue Revolver 2 and sold it separately, but instead, they released it for free, a truly commendable decision. At its core, Blue Revolver is a 25-minute arcade-style danmaku made by Danbo, an indie dev from Europe. But make no mistake, this is not an Euro shmup. So what exactly is Blue Revolver? And why does it deserve the #1 spot? Simplicity is beauty. One of the greatest strengths of Blue Revolver is its instant accessibility. Everything is fluid, clear, and fun from the get-go, even its scoring system. You pick from 3 ships, then choose a special weapon. Every time you destroy an enemy with your normal shot, a hit counter, top left of the screen, builds up to 8. If you stop attacking, the counter gradually decreases. Then, by taking down enemies with your special weapon, you apply a ×8 multiplier to the hit count. So 8 multiply 8 equals 64 at max counter, meaning massive score potential. Bosses also have breakable parts, but there's no hidden mechanic. Everything is clearly indicated. There's no guesswork, no cryptic systems. Just pure arcade gameplay, easy to understand, but incredibly deep. And honestly, isn't that the very definition of a great arcade game? Like in music and other art forms, what appears simple often hides the most masterful execution. The game also features a rank system, adding variety to each run. The better you play, the harder the game gets. But it also boosts your score and rewards you with extra lives. But here's the genius part. Unlike Battle Garega, where the rank system eventually forces players to suicide to reset difficulty, Blue Revolver caps rank at 5. This makes it challenging, but always fair, avoiding counterintuitive strategies and keeping the game accessible. It also encourages scoring even in survival play, since gaining more points equals earning extra lives. You have the ultimate package here with M2-style gadget system, 120Hz mode, new character, XP mode, revamped sections, especially the final stage, almost completely redesigned. Customizable color palettes, online leaderboards with replays, countless new options and features. One small detail I loved. During character selection, you're always given a specific goal. The first time, it's just to clear the game. Once that's done, the next goal is to reach a certain score, then an even higher one, and so on. It's a tiny feature, but extremely motivating, constantly giving you something to strive for. Blue Revolver is packed with these kinds of thoughtful touches. And I haven't even mentioned the gorgeous art direction, the mind-blowing bullet patterns, or the killer soundtrack. Honestly, I need to stop here. This isn't a dedicated review, even though I could talk about this masterpiece for hours. If I had to give you just one piece of advice, play this game. You'll immediately see why it's so insanely addictive. You'll be chaining run after run, unable to put the controller down. And that wraps up the top shmups of 2024. Thanks to everyone for watching. Let me know in the comments your own top picks, or which shmup you enjoyed the most this year. Do you agree with my selection? Cho Shmuppers!